welcome back to another review of Death. It's Christmas, or it has been Christmas.
It's 2016 now.
It's 2016, yeah, wow. New year, which
Excellent.
means more reviews. But, because this is the first time we've seen each other since Christmas, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Matt.
Oh, thank you.
The exchanging of gifts. Now, I'm really bad at rapping.
Okay.
I'll say that right now. So it does
Seems
look like
all-
it's
seems
been
alright to
rapped
me.
by a chimp. Also, I got this for you at the Doctor Who festival.
Oh, right, okay.
Walking around, and I sort of saw it at the corner of my eye and I went, that's not for sale, is it? And I picked it up.
Oh, right.
Bang. And thankfully,
Interesting.
it's not on the website that you get it from, it's not online. So I don't
okay.
know where it came from.
Weird.
Because you can't
So-
buy it on their website.
Maybe
from
it's
what
like
I've
a
seen.
exclusive
It
thing.
might have been.
Wow.
If it is exclusive, then
Wow.
there we go.
That's good on eBay.
Right, okay. You better not. I'm going to look for it later. There's all those people that have bikes nicked and then they go on eBay and find them weeks later.
Yes.
Oh, God. No, I don't have any of these.
Oh, fantastic.
I don't have any of these.
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow! Oh, fantastic! Now this is really mad because I have seen these.
Really?
I saw it posted online that they're doing like
what I
celery
got.
and stuff. So I'm gonna open up the fourth Doctor's lapel pin. Holy crap! Well, that's it. I'm going home.
Yeah.
And getting dressed up. I think that is amazing.
They had all sorts. They had the Sixth Doctor's cat lapel,
Yeah.
and they had a couple of other little bits and bobs. Obviously,
Yeah, I know
the
they're
Fourth
doing
Doctor,
they're
that's the
doing
one.
Peter Davison's celery.
Are they?
Yeah,
The whole
the whole
stick of
thing,
celery.
yeah.
Jesus.
It's like 20 quid.
Was it a prop or was it actually a stick of celery?
It was a prop. It was felt. I think.
Right. Okay.
Wow! Look at that.
Yeah. So there we go. From the City of Death.
Excellent.
And I bought that with Tash, and she said, "You never buy me jewellery." So there we go. So now we've exchanged gifts.
Yeah.
The elation of Christmas, that's what it's all about, exchanging gifts, you know, being nice to people. And then we get Doctor Who in the evening.
Yay!
Brings the mood right down.
What we did in my house.
So,
or my flat.
this is our review of The Husbands of River Song. So, from the title announcement, we didn't really hold this episode with much hope, did we?
No. You know what would have been good?
What?
From the off. But it should have been. Imagine if it was a multi-Doctor story. That would have been great.
Yeah, well, that could have worked with the title, The
Yeah.
Husbands of River Song.
You could have like the 11th Doctor.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, they could have all been together, and you know, maybe she was trying to stop them from all meeting and stuff.
I think there's something about introducing a multi-Doctor story that early into a Doctor's run, though, that sort of...
It's a.
Because that's always been the thing, they always introduce them slightly later
Yeah.
in the Doctor's sort of tenure. I mean, it didn't happen to Matt until, you know, near his last series.
Yeah. Colin Baker, you know, it was in his first season.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess Pat Troughton wasn't in it an awful lot, though.
And I also suppose, in that regard, they would have had to have given his Doctor a push, because I think they knew that he might not be accepted as readily as they'd hoped he would, so let's just slip in a second Doctor.
Just to
Confirm.
It is. It's
Lighten
the
it a
same
bit.
man. Yeah.
But yeah, The Husbands of River Song. We can't remember a thing about it,
No.
because I tried to wipe it from my memory, and I was slightly
So did I.
intoxicated as well on Christmas Day.
Oh.
So when I watched it, it was all sort of a bit of a flurry of like, I don't really cohesively know what's going on here.
Yeah.
But then I have watched it since, and I still
Oh,
think
God.
it's immensely frenetic.
Right.
Doesn't slow down
No.
a jot, and is
Until the end.
until the end. But
Like
then
the last 5 minutes,
even then it is sort of like, and then this really long bit, and then that's at the end.
Yeah.
And it's like, it feels like my brain's been attacked. I don't know what to think of it or what's going on. So should we try and
Make
work
sense
out
of what
this
happened.
plot?
Right.
Because from a standpoint like that, it's quite a cool idea. That this guy's got a jewel buried in his brain,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
which is very Renard from
It's
The World's Not Enough.
yeah, yeah.
When they showed that hologram of his head, I thought he was going to put his fingers into it like Pierce Brosnan
That
does.
was all I was thinking.
Yeah.
It's like, this is James Bond.
I don't understand. Did the Doctor get a letter? Did he get the summons, or was he just sort of like one of those things where the Doctor's whisked up into this thing?
I think he's just whisked up because Matt Lucas goes off with the Doctor. Sorry, he's going to be called Matt Lucas for this video because I don't know
can't
his
remember
character
his name,
name.
no.
Matt Lucas takes him away, and then the surgeon walks in behind, and he turns around to some other passerby and says, "Excuse me, are you looking for a surgeon?"
Right.
Or something.
Okay.
And he's like, "Oh."
Because that makes a lot more sense. Because the two times I've watched it, I didn't see that
Didn't
at
get
all.
that. I liked the Carolers.
Carolers will be criticised. That was a fantastic.
Yeah, that was
little
nice.
bit.
I was like, okay, you can have that.
Remember when we went to the set? We've not really talked about it on camera before, which
so
might be nice to talk about.
And that was the thing. I thought this throughout the episode when they had shots in the TARDIS. I thought, We were there while they
Yeah.
were filming this.
Yeah.
Of all the episodes they were filming when we went there.
It's quite a
it was
shame.
just one.
But there was that little bit when Peter said, and here's a hole in the console, as
Yeah,
you can
I've
fit
got-
your head in there,
Yeah.
or maybe somebody's head's already been in there, or something
Yeah,
like that.
and he said, oh, that's from an episode that hasn't aired yet.
Yeah.
And I was so tempted to put that on Facebook
Yeah.
when the Christmas one was announced. I said, oh, I know that it's something to do with someone's
Something to do with
head.
severed heads or something.
Yeah.
I instantly thought the Auton Mickey had come back, or maybe
Oh, God.
Handles had returned or something.
Well, but afterwards, once he'd said that, and then
Hmm.
we saw that, because in the trailer, I think you see Greg Davis's head in the console,
Hmm.
all I could think was, Greg Davis, this giant of a man, had to sit crouched underneath this.
of all the actors,
Yeah.
they could have hired
I
to
don't
do
know why
that.
they got him to
Well,
do it.
this is one of my misgivings with the episode, is I think that, and also a lot of guest casting in the recent couple of years of Doctor Who, is they've just been wasted.
Yeah.
Because Greg Davis is a very funny actor. I mean, he's basically the apprentice of Rick Mayall.
Yeah.
And Matt Lucas, who I think is very funny. I mean, Little Britain here and there, I think, is funny.
Yeah.
It's not 100% fantastic, comedy gold. But I really like Matt Lucas's comedy style.
Yeah.
That Pompidou show he did, I know it wasn't to everybody's tastes, because it got moved earlier and earlier and eventually basically became a kids show.
Oh, right, okay.
Because it was sort of silent comedy, his character only sort of spoke in, like, And Alex McQueen is in it as well as his
Oh, is he
butler.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which is it's a little bit sort of end of the pier, but
Yeah.
it's quite fun. I really liked it.
Okay.
But I like his comic stylings. I know he's a big Doctor Who fan.
Yeah.
So to see him underutilized really in this degree,
Yeah.
I think is a shame, because I was saying to somebody else, that's his mark on Doctor
Doctor
Who.
Who, yeah.
That's his indelible mark. That's
Yeah.
what he'll be remembered for, and I think he deserves, and Greg Davis deserves a lot better.
Better than that, yeah. You watch this, which is obviously meant to be set just before, or 24 years before, the library one.
Mm.
Those two characters, River Song in this, River Song in that,
Yeah.
they are not the same lady.
Yeah. Well, I like to think that maybe we can bridge the gap with that, with some of the Big Finish stuff. Maybe explain
Yeah.
why her attitude's changed.
Yeah,
But
I've not heard any of...
No, I haven't either.
I really can't remember what
No.
happens next.
So then they.
Oh, I really get... there's like a whole bit in the middle that I
Yeah.
just can't remember what happens.
It was-
because I just gave up caring.
Was that on the Starliner? Is that the bit you're talking about, where the bit you can't remember, when they go and they have the meal?
No, I remember that bit. It's like all the stuff leading up to that. I just can't remember what happens. I know there's like a lot of chasing around and Matt Luke. Yeah, so that's it. So the head comes off. They steal the head.
Yeah.
There was a really nice moment, which was probably the best moment in the whole episode. I'm sure you know what this moment was.
Go on.
When he pulled out the little wallet thing. And he saw
Oh
the different
yeah, and the doctors. Yeah.
and it-
But then I still think with Moffat, that's his way of dangling, like, forget, shiny things, forget the plot, shiny
Yeah,
things,
yeah.
shiny, look, everybody can be happy, here's the classic TARDIS console,
Yeah.
here's Gallifrey, be happy, the plot doesn't exist. Be
Yeah.
like that.
That'll distract them from all
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I honestly think part of that might be
You're
it.
you're probably right.
Just to make people happy, because
Yeah.
there was a time where we'd looked at moments like that with the with the faces and gone, whoa, that's so cool,
Yeah.
like they're all there, and but now
It's sort of been done almost too much now.
yeah, I think I honestly think it's to just put a band-aid over some people's misgivings about it, that.
Yeah.
But then we've just had the 50th anniversary, and I sort of feel a bit worn out from all the classic stuff.
Yeah.
In the new series. I'd rather just see the new series taking a completely new direction now, because I thought that was the point, that after the 50th anniversary, he's got a new mission to find Gallifrey. It only took him 2 seasons to find it. So, that was the whole point, was they were going to set up that to be the next 50 years of the show, to safeguard it. It would be him trying to find Gallifrey again, but he's done it in 2 seasons.
Oh yeah, so River Song has apparently been stealing the TARDIS when the Doctor's not looking, which I have some misgivings with.
Yeah.
So,
No.
don't do that.
Right, okay.
There's some more fiction trolls.
Sure.
I don't think the TARDIS...
Has she got a key?
Yeah, probably.
Right, okay.
He gives his key to anyone
Yeah.
these days.
Mm.
I remember in the old days, like some of the companions never had a key.
It was a passing of the torch when like when Martha finally got a key.
Yeah.
I was like, oh wow, he finally trusts her with the.
I mean, what's he do? He must just have like a key cutter in the
Yeah.
TARDIS.
Or like where he's only just met Clara, the Victorian Clara, and he's like, you can have the key.
Yeah,
And it's like, I know he's met her before and he wants to find out about her, but even so, like,
A bit much,
you
isn't it?
don't have to be that forward with her. It's like going out with a girl on one date and going, so do you want to meet my parents? Do you want to move in with me?
Yeah.
Have a cat and stuff like that. It's like, God. Anyway, so, God, this is the thing, we're getting so distracted
She talks about studying the TARDIS, because she still doesn't know that Peter Capaldi's Doctor Who.
Then how she hasn't worked it out yet.
Yes.
Like, where is he then?
Yeah, it's nonsense, isn't it?
Of like all the people, so this guy's coming knowing all the answers.
Yeah.
And look at the way he's dressed. I know
Yeah.
it's Christmas, but look at the way he's dressed. Look at the way he's looking at people. Look at the way he's
talks,
sussing stuff
you know.
out. Yeah.
Oh, and there was this really annoying bit which I hated, which was he pulls a face at one point. It's when the hologram comes out.
Yeah.
And she says something. She makes a remark about his face, and she's like, "Oh, a man thinking," or "You've never seen that before," sort of thing. And it's like, "Oh, give it a rest. Come
Yeah.
on."
I know.
It's like, oh, this is typical Moffat woman.
I know that
crap.
he writes that stuff to sort of make women more sort of like powerful and like, oh yeah, I can take care of myself.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's a bloke writing it makes
Yeah.
it like makes it really cringy because women don't speak
Speak
like
like
that.
that.
They're on the star line.
Yeah, they go to
there's
that thing.
there's that ant thing that looks like Chanto.
Yeah.
God, I remembered that character's name.
Well done. I couldn't remember her name.
Jesus, that's awful. And I can't even remember guest characters' names from this story. I couldn't even remember what Matt Lucas's character was called.
No.
And I remembered Chanto. Well, maybe because that's
What
her
she
dialect,
said.
Chanto. Yeah.
Why did they go there? Oh, they were selling the diamond.
Everybody on board was a murderer.
Yeah.
That was quite a nice. I quite like the idea that you can only get on board the ship. It's
If
like an
you were-
executive pass if you've got like a criminal
Blood on
history.
your
Yeah.
hands, yeah.
That was quite cool.
Yeah.
Because it did make it dangerous. But then, I don't know. I would like to have seen that on board the ship.
Yeah.
You know, maybe like when they come through and they, present their tickets, they present a severed head or like a hand or
Yeah.
something. That would be quite cool.
God, the Doctor Who got on fine.
Yeah. He says, well,
All of his criminal
what
exploits.
have you, what have you got on your name? How about that planet Gallifrey? Where's that gone? And they're like, oh shit. Okay, well, you can have the penthouse suite.
Yeah.
Like, just take the whole boat.
Yeah. Again, it just feels like all those moments are like it is wasted in this crap story. And then it was something like they actually worshipped Hydroflax, so they didn't want him to die.
Yeah.
So it was like
But it's all a story of convenience because like they wouldn't have known that before they went
No.
on. But now they're in this position. It's like now they've only just found out. But
yeah.
it would have been nice to have had some foreshadowing to that they were oblivious of. So the
Yeah.
audience are going, oh God, before it even happens. Because when they say he is our king and we don't want
Yeah.
any harm to come to him, then you're like, oh right, okay. Oh dear, they got the head
Yeah.
under the table, and that's it. But if they'd like foreshadowed it all the way through, and the head's in the bag, and you know it's in the bag,
do it.
it's like, oh God, don't put it under the table, just get rid of it now.
Yeah,
That would have been a lot.
That would have been
funnier.
funnier. Yeah. Now, how did they get out of that? Was that when the meteorites struck and River Song was like
Meteorite struck.
Yeah,
oh
struck
yeah,
the ship, and she's
yeah.
like, oh yeah, I happen to know that meteorite is going to hit this ship. I've not mentioned anything about this
Yeah.
yet, but for the sake of convenience of getting out of this, I happen to know that meteorites hit this thing because I dug up your bones.
Yeah.
Now, some people are going to try and be like, oh, so how clever.
Yeah.
I just thought it was like, oh
God.
why? Just do something else.
So that thing we were talking about downstairs about Sherlock, it's like if you make somebody just say stuff,
Yeah.
automatically they think that's clever.
Yeah,
But
that's the thing.
without any lead up or without any sort of like discovery or working things out that the audience can see, they're just saying stuff.
Yeah.
Because we didn't know that.
No.
So how is that any sort of revelation to us that
Yeah.
we've sort of gone? They're just saying stuff. It's not clever to just say stuff. You've
No.
got to put a thread through it. Like if she was like doing an archaeological dig like later,
Yeah.
and she was like, oh, I've got to jot that down in my diary. I've got to
Yeah.
be on this place at this time
Yeah.
because I know when.
And it could have been like
how
the
old
most,
these bones are.
the
or
most
whatever.
subtle thing.
Yeah.
That when you watch it, you just sort of think, okay, she's just doing a job. Then later on, when
Yeah.
she says it, you're like, oh, that's clever.
I don't know if you talked about this in maybe one of the live streams, but when I went to the Doctor Who festival, Stephen Moffat was talking about how he writes his scripts, and he said he just writes the first 20 minutes just blah on the page,
Yeah.
and then he leaves it for like weeks, and then comes back to it and goes, oh my God, how am I going to finish this? And I think he writes all of his sort of best ideas. Like that's quite a cool idea. Like I know what's going to happen to you because I've dug your bones up in the
Yeah.
future. That's a cool
Because-
idea.
yeah.
He's obviously thought about that over the dinner table and gone, oh, where's my Mac? Typed it down.
Yeah.
And he's like, right, cool, yeah, that's great. And then he sent that in.
Yeah.
And they've gone, oh my God, that's fantastic. And then it goes through to production. Everyone
Yeah.
goes, that's really cool. And then it's only until it comes through to the other side where everybody goes, how did she know that? Like a good
Yeah.
idea at the time
Yeah.
does unless somebody says,
Yeah.
do you want to rethink that?
But I think it's like what we were saying with your mum and dad.
Mm.
It's like you know, if there was anyone around that big table, and everyone was like, yeah, brilliant, brilliant, and someone went, I'm not so sure about this, like, yeah,
get out,
never come back.
Probably.
I mean, hopefully it'll be. I'm hoping that it gets to the point where Doctor Who is like universally hated again.
Yeah.
And you know, when you know, when you had writers like Chris Chibnall going on stuff like Points of View in the 80s and saying Doctor Who has become terrible. Pip and Jane Baker are just
even
awful.
like Doctor Who magazine used to criticise it.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen anymore.
No.
You've got so many more outlets, not naming any, so many more outlets that just go, oh, this is the best show ever.
Yeah.
They can't do anything wrong. Tune in every week. You're going to hear what we think of it, but it's clearly being massaged because, you know, maybe not necessarily because they've been told say nice things about it.
Yeah.
But people are, you know, when they write for Doctor Who magazine, they are sat there looking up at the header, you know, printed on the wall, and it's like a BBC publication. Oh, right, okay. I've got to be careful. I've got to be careful what I say because I can't criticise it, otherwise they won't print it, or they get somebody else to do it. So that's scary, isn't it? Really,
it's horrible.
It's not because it just throttles creativity, and you know, and then people look for alternatives, and they'll never come back to the official channels, you know. But that's quite nice because that's sort of where, you know, the blogs and the fanzines and even videos videos like ours and people who have similar opinions to ours, you know, that voice them online.
Yeah.
People are looking for this because
they didn't get it elsewhere.
Yeah. And they don't trust. Well, generally, what comes out of a lot of people's mouths.
I think only once I saw someone critique the new series in Doctor Who magazine, and I think it was like, because obviously they always do like the preview, don't they?
Yeah.
For the episode.
Yeah.
A bit later they'll do the review, and it might have been Hungry Earth, and I'm sure someone said, sort of quite outrightly said, the new Silurian design isn't as good as the old one.
Yeah, but that's general consensus.
It is general consensus, yeah. And I was like, wow, you know, they actually said that.
Yeah.
Normally, you'd expect them to say, oh, it's far superior, you know, you can actually see people's faces and acting and stuff.
I remember seeing something printed in Doctor Who magazine's letters page where somebody criticised the show, very, you know, fairly, and they made it their star letter in a sort of like, the prize this week is, you know, I hate the new series, blah, blah, blah. The prize this week is the complete new series on box set and Blu-ray. And it's like, oh, well, you know, I'm sure even a Doctor Who fan who hates the new series would be like, that's like 120 quid, I love that. But like the way they write it was really smarmy, like, well, if you don't like the show, we're just going to give you more of what you want. It's like, well, why did you buy Doctor Who magazine? They don't. That's all they print is new series stuff, pretty much. Yeah,
really. Yeah, I think we just need to get to the point where the BBC see it once again as a poisoned chalice, which probably will happen. Yeah. You know, because
with declining viewing figures, it might happen sooner than we think.
Yeah. You know, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
I don't think it would even become hated again. I just think they'll just go, sort of losing money. Like, we can maybe invest in some new drama, and the Tories are sort of asking us to put our money into new ideas and stuff. Maybe we should just can it for
a bit. Yeah, it'd just be like in the 80s. I don't on hiatus.
I don't think it's going to be that sort of thing of like, you know, they hate it anymore. Because they can't hate it because it brings them so much money. Yeah. Look at that. And look at, you know, I mean, half the stuff in this room you can't see, but look at that. Look at that mug that I bought, and it's got BBC stuff all over it. And look at this thing I bought for Matt, and look at this thing he bought for me. And it, you know, they won't can it because they hate it, because
it would just
like this is not tat. It's a lovely present. You know, stuff like this is available. You know,
I mean, that's the thing. They'll probably put it on hiatus. They'll know that it's going to keep making money in some form. And it's, you know, they just might not make such a conscious effort. I mean, I think it might end up being a bit like Sherlock, like every year. Oh, here's a couple of specials.
Yeah, but then I don't know. I think you lose what makes Doctor Who great, which is the episodic formula of it. You know, as opposed to look at that. Did we ever think we'd get stuff like this?
It's mad, isn't it?
Ever?
No Peter Capaldi.
Crazy. Unbelievable. So this episode, should we just give it a little roundup now? Because I don't think we're going to get much further with it.
Does anything...
she finds out who's the Doctor.
Yeah.
Oh, and that line that was in the trailer. And I saw so many people single out this line and put it on Twitter when the trailer came out. I think it was like the BBC at Christmas trailer, and it was that line, so what do you think of my new face? He says, I don't think of my new body. I said, I've only seen the face yet, I don't know. And everybody saw that and went, Merry Christmas, everyone. I shall not be tuning in this year.
I mean, the best review I've had was from my dad.
Really?
Yeah. So, I went over on Boxing Day.
I'd love your dad to do a review with us.
Oh, yeah.
That would be really funny.
And he turned round. He said, "So what did you think of Doctor Who last night?" I said, yeah, it was terrible. He said, yeah. He said, why did they even bother? And I was like, that sums it
question.
up. Why?
Fair
He said,
question.
why do they even bother? I was like, well, yeah.
So she finds out he's the Doctor.
Yeah.
I'm losing the will to live, and I've I'm not even watching it at the moment. She finds out he's the Doctor, and then
They try to save the ship, and then they just go.
allow it. Yeah, and they fly off. And then what happens to his head? They
Whose head?
hydrofax.
Oh, earlier on they got disintegrated by the body.
Oh
because
yeah,
of,
yeah.
It was like atrophying. Wasn't it?
Right. And then what was the other thing? Then Matt Lucas comes in as the robot.
Yeah, and there's also the other guy, her husband, her other
Yeah.
husband. He's also.
Another thing that wound me up. Moffat robots, Moffat monsters always have to have a buzzword.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like what was it called? The antibodies.
Yeah.
They were like,
I can't
please,
remember that story.
please, let's go Hitler.
Yeah.
Please hold still while we kill you, or whatever. Or your death will only
Yeah.
hurt a little bit. And so it was like that's not threatening anymore.
And this is actually really well timed because
Right.
it goes back to the Let's Play that we're doing
Oh, yeah.
of
Yeah.
Return to Earth.
Which is still rolling
It's
as
still
we're
coming
making
out
this.
now, yeah. The computer in that we this has been the third video. The computer in that says something like, "Oh, please go to sleep." When she's like, that's her little thing.
Yeah.
And I think we even make a remark like, that is what people think of Doctor Who now.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, all these mad things have got to have like a little phrase, and it worked with stuff like
The
"Are you my
Daleks.
mummy?" and the Daleks. Yeah, it worked with "Are you my mummy?" because it was the first time it had been done.
Yeah.
In the new series, but it's a real conscious decision of that worked and people really loved it.
And it's
keep trying
marketable
to
as
do
well.
it. Yeah.
Let's create posters and let's do
With
the calendars have got to have something in it this year.
I mean, basically, the only reason anyone will watch this is for the last 5 minutes when she finds out he's the Doctor. He then goes back in time. Again, this is like Curse of Fatal Death.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I went back in time and I told the architect to do this. Like, he went back in time and he told some random bloke,
Yeah.
why don't you build a restaurant here? And I don't know. Obviously, there's a section of fandom of this program that see that and they're like, "Oh,
That's
clever
great.
time travel." Whereas the rest of us are just like,
That's not clever. It's just a line.
You've just done this so many times. It was, it was all right the first time you did it, and he was like, "Oh, okay, you're using time travel."
Yeah.
And now it's just like, oh. I sort of resent the fact that not that Doctor Who's become about time travel, but I resent the fact that Doctor Who and time travel has sort of been whittled down to that.
Yeah, but it's faux cleverness. It's not even clever. It's
Just go back in time.
Yeah.
And have a story, write a good script.
Yeah.
And set it in, have a pure historical or something. Meet, the Van Gogh one. That should have just been a pure historical. It didn't need that big turkey monster or whatever it was.
Turkey monster. Anyway, should we just wrap this up because we're not gonna get to the end
Basically,
of
she gets that sonic screwdriver.
Yeah.
And he's had a haircut and a new suit, a facelift.
Yeah. I forgot to mention this. My grandma was watching it with me as well.
Oh yeah.
And she basically said exactly what we've said it, except with less swearing. She said this is just like it's not very clever, is it?
No.
And she doesn't really watch Doctor Who.
Yeah.
She only watched it because I think she holds a bit of the candle for Peter Capaldi.
Oh, really?
But so she she was like, this isn't even clever. This is just really poorly, crafted.
I mean, that's basically the same with my family. Like, they only watch it because I watch it.
Yeah.
And they'll maybe like make a conscious effort to go, oh, I'll sit down and watch it. And like my gran, she was watching it back in the 60s with her son, and she's watched it because we all liked it.
Yeah.
She's just been watching it ever since. But they turn around to me and they're like, that was terrible.
Yeah.
Like, what is this? So when I read things online from like Joe Public saying, oh, Peter Capaldi's boring, although that to me is like the most terrible thing.
Yeah.
And it was like sacrilege. And then when they say this episode was crap, I think, well, yeah, my family who are not fans.
Nothing to say about that. It's just,
that's the people you need to be worrying about.
Yeah. Although there were a couple of episodes in series 9 where I was going, this is great.
Yeah.
People went, that's boring. I said, but that's proper
But
Doctor Who.
that's not proper Doctor Who.
And it seems like only 50% of the people who watch the show can be happy at any one time.
Yeah.
Either we're elated that the show is doing what it's doing and the viewing figures are down and people don't like that style of story, or the really infuriating writing is being praised and we're sat here going, this isn't what we bought a ticket for.
Yeah.
This isn't what we've invested all this in for.
No.
Oh bollocks!
Killed him.
Sorry, Peter. He's not dead. It's all right.
I know you're angry about this episode. But
I don't want to start breaking your presents. I'm very sorry about that.
I'm not Peter Capaldi.
No, of all the doctors.
It's not his fault.
Yeah. So, should we give it a score?
2. No, that's too much.
No. Too much?
That's too much.
Do you think?
It was...
There were moments in it where I sort of went, huh, because it's Christmas. But...
Do you know what and I'm not even joking here, and people are going to hate me because people hate me when I say stuff like this. I started watching it, and it was about 5 or 10 minutes in. I mean, Kat was watching it with me for 5 minutes. She got up, she said, "This is wasting my time, I'm going to go into the bedroom and just have a lie down." And she did, she went to sleep for the rest of the story, and she said, and she woke up, she was like, "Yeah, I'm glad that I did this rather than watch this programme." And I was like 10 minutes in.
She doesn't like Doctor Who anyway.
I know, but...
As we see on this channel. That comes as no surprise to anyone. You've got to come up, the next thing you say now has got to be something the audience go, whoa. Because if that was it, everyone at home was going to go, we know. Yeah. We know Kat doesn't like it. That's the whole point of one of your series on your channel.
But I was like 10 minutes in, probably less, and I thought to myself, I'm so glad that I never have to watch this again. Like, the only time I will ever watch this is if I do a marathon.
Well, you are on your marathon right now.
Yeah, I know. And I did think to myself, shit, I've got to watch this.
Where are you now?
I'm on Paul McGann Audios.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so I'm about to start Invaders from Mars.
Okay.
So I've got a little while yet before I have to come back to this terrible story.
Yeah, okay.
But I did think to myself, I'm so glad that I will never, ever consciously go, you know what I fancy watching? The Husbands of Riverside.
Nobody will say that, though. No one
I'm sure
on this planet will say...
I'm sure there are people out there who will go, you know what, I fancy watching that story. Much in the same way that I don't turn around and go, you know what I fancy? Time Lash.
Okay.
You know, it's even there. It's down there. It's staring at me.
I don't know why. Because I've got basically in here I've got boxes full of DVDs that I just haven't unpacked, and I needed some stuff to watch on my DVD player, so I just grabbed the first hand. I mean, I think there's some stuff. Oh no, those are old horrible fan films. Don't look at those.
Oh right. Yeah, 2 out of 10, I think.
2 out of 10.
The only worthwhile bit was the bit at the end when she was like, "Oh, here's your sonic screwdriver," and it tied it up. And someone's done a really nice fan edit where they've cut that scene with bits from the David Tennant episode.
Oh right.
And it works quite nicely.
It'd be interesting to watch once her story. Well, if this is the end of her story, do you think it is?
I think that's the thing. There's a lot of telling stuff about this episode. I mean, obviously, you can easily say that, for the most part, her story's done. But I guess you can always say, because it's time travel, or we can just see a story set between these episodes.
Yeah.
So, you know, on the whole, is her story done? I think yes, but that doesn't mean we may not ever see more of it.
Ever since Clara came back, I can't trust Stephen to let his characters die anymore.
Yeah. I mean, you sort of said, she'll never die, because we've already seen her die.
Yeah.
It's like, and she came back as a bloody data ghost or whatever, you know. But what was telling for me was the fact that Stephen Moffat said the reason why I brought her back was because I thought this was the last time I'd be writing for Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Which then immediately...
You said something about that to me, didn't you?
Which made me think, right, so Stephen Moffat thought, I'm not doing Series 10, some other bugger's going to do it. The BBC were like, we've got no other producer to take over this programme. And he said in the same interview, I'd never leave that show in the lurch. So what basically happened was, he was like, right, that's it. That's my time on Doctor Who done. Stephen, we haven't got anyone to write Doctor Who.
Oh, for God's
sake. All right, I'll do another year. And he even said, he's like, I'm actively involved in finding my successor. And then there was a lot of rumours going around that it might be Chris Chibnall. Yeah.
Well, what else is it? He's written the Silurian two-parter.
He wrote... Did he write 42?
No, if he did, I do like that story.
I like 42. He did The Power of 3.
I'm lukewarm on that, because I do like some aspects of it. I like the idea of it. Yeah. Maybe the execution...
I don't like it, it's crap.
Is that all he's done?
He might have done... Did he do Dinosaurs on a Spaceship? I think he did.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't mind that was alright. That was just...
So, okay. Alright. Well, in the Q&A, I think we've got a question about successors.
Yeah.
I think. If not, I'll find one and we'll do that.
We'll do that.
So, we'll discuss that more in another video.
Yeah.
I feel slightly more generous to give it a 3 out of 10.
Okay. So not that much more.
No, but I don't know. I think I enjoyed the bits that were meant to be comically enjoyed a little bit more.
Yeah.
But not the ones that were like, you know, I've got a new body, what do you think of it? That sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the more intelligent, witty stuff rather than stuff that's genuinely witty rather than mop-up witty.
Yeah, it's funny, like when you're watching old Doctor Who and they have these moments of really dry humour, and like, I sort of think, haha, that's good, that's clever. But then you watch the new stuff and it's like, oh, God, it's a joke, and the music is like, this is a joke.
Thank you for your present, Matthew.
Well, thank you very much for mine. I might just put on my coat and just
this is
wear
fantastic.
it to work tomorrow.
So yeah. Thank you very much for watching, everybody, and we will see you on our next video, which will be a Q&A.
Yeah.
Answering your questions submitted to us on Facebook, Twitter, and that's it. So yeah, it's your outro.
Yeah. Cheerio.
I like the fact that last year the first Christmas present you got me, I got you actually, was a pop.
It was a pop.
Because I got you Rocket Raccoon, didn't I?
Yeah.
And I don't actually collect these. Actually, I shouldn't say this out loud because my parents are downstairs, but I did buy a 40 to 50 quid one off of eBay, and it was a George Harrison one.
Right.
And it was delivered to a
I remember you
bargain
saying
booze or something, like on the other side of Cheltenham, on the rough end of Cheltenham, and I was like, I can't really be asked to go and pick it up, so it's still there.
Still there.
Unless somebody else has come along and bought a very similar pop vinyl, and that's it. Thank you very much, Matt. That's gorgeous. I will display that in my uni hall. I will start a collection. There we are. And I'll take it out of the box because it's just the kind of guy I am.